Hurricane Nate is now a tropical depression after it hit the American Gulf Coast. The storm brought strong winds, heavy rains, and storm surges from Florida to Louisiana. One of the hardest hit cities is Biloxi in the state of Mississippi, where our correspondent Sean Callebs is. Sean, you have been there for the previous few days. What are things like right now?
Well, Juan, behind me you can see the sun is setting. It is a wonderful Sunday afternoon, evening along the Gulf Coast of the United States. But you see that there is a sailboat that has been pushed up on the beach here in the city of Biloxi. It is just part of the damage from the storm surge that really punished this area. And while people in this region really braced for the worst, they could only hope for the best as Nate bear down. Mississippi's Gulf Coast region felt the brunt of Hurricane Nate with winds that reached 136 kilometers per hour. The storm moved rapidly through the Gulf of Mexico, sending floodwaters into the many casinos that dot the shoreline in the town of Biloxi. Daylight revealed a beach lined with debris. Nate pushed tons of sand onto the main state road, Highway 90, that runs parallel to the water. The storm weakened quickly as it moved over land. Gulf Coast residents in Mississippi who listened to the howling wind and driving rain that accompanied the hurricane ashore say it appears the region fared better than many had expected.
I thought it was going to be a lot worse. I was honestly very surprised. I've been through hurricanes before, but this was a real light one.
Hurricane Nate is the fourth powerful storm to roll through the warm Atlantic waters in the past couple of months, and again highlights the danger of living close to the ocean.
If that same storm, if Nate would have hit us 15 years ago, the damage would have been much more extensive. We would have had loss of life. But we have rebuilt the coast in the aftermath of Katrina higher and stronger.
Every storm that threatens this region conjures up painful memories of Hurricane Katrina back in 2005, a killer storm that laid waste to much of the Gulf Coast. As Nate churned through the Gulf of Mexico, it appeared to have the Louisiana city of New Orleans in its crosshairs. The mayor mandated an early evening curfew and told people to expect the worst. Once it was clear New Orleans would be spared, the curfew was canceled, and the mayor said, better safe than sorry.
I'm always worried about inconvenience, but I'm much more worried about life safety issues, and I think we made the right decisions at the right time.
With the sun peeking through the clouds, shrimpers are heading out for a late season harvest. Some storms are remembered for instilling fear and widespread damage, others for how bad things could have been. Along the central Gulf Coast, the feeling here is glad Nate was just passing through. And this boat on the beach has become quite the curiosity for people in this area. Right now, the storm is a tropical depression, and it is now the concern of people in states such as Georgia and South Carolina, further inland. But Nate hit this area with fury, and at one point, tens of thousands of people in Mississippi and the state of Alabama lost power, and hundreds of roads had to be closed for a short time. But Juan, perhaps the most telling statistic, there were no reported fatalities from this storm along the Gulf Coast region.
Sean, for the moment, it certainly looks pretty peaceful. The sunset behind you is really beautiful. How fast do you think this area can bounce back from the storm?
Well, it already basically has bounced back. What you're looking at is a Highway 90, though, or the road that basically butts the water, and it was covered with sand this morning. It is now perfectly open. A lot of the debris gone as well. They just have to get this boat off the beach, and everything should be running pretty smoothly. Now, there were a number of casinos that had to shut down because they had